Hello class and welcome to Geography 3.5. Today we look at Hanmer hot pools. Here we all are here at the top of the hill, smiling, happy as the sun grows on us. Anyway, it goes down, here we go, let's do this. Here's an achieved exemplar. Let's kick us off with this one here. First thing you can see is they've got the aim and they've got their plan here. This plan says how they're going to find the information. You can see there's also a map. This map here talks about the zones. It's also got a north point and it's got a title. You can see the graph here. It has its different zones. It's a multiple bar graph and there's the information. This is a pretty basic exemplar, but it's got most of the correct things that's needed. Then they analyze it. So you can see they analyze it. There's a spatial pattern. They're using those geographic words that we need to do. The analysis is really important. They're talking about zone B and they talk about a linear spatial pattern. So for this, to get it achieved, you're going to have to talk about the patterns. You're going to have to talk about amounts. And you're going to have to use some geographic language. They've got a conclusion where they basically find a clear conclusion about spatial patterns, and the main reasons relates to accessibility, which is a geographic concept. It's all pretty clear. They talk about a strength and a weakness. So for this one here, I thought analysis might be a bit of a problem. And here's one here, how to do a winning analysis. So for this one here are some geographic words you should know. And here's some ideas about doing a graph analysis. First of all, state the pattern. Say the amounts in there. So say the actual amounts. The next one is state why this happens. The reason what's on your graph is because, and come up with some reasons. Now you've got to use geographic wording in here, and that will get you your next grade. So up to the merits and the excellences are going to be the geographic wording you use. You can tie in other data, and so this is where you can show that you've looked at secondary data as well. This is where you can tie it in, but your primary one must be your research you got on the field trip. Again, these are the words that you should be using. Let's go to a merit now. This is a low merit. First of all, one of the things you can see is that there's a diagram here, a map, there's a graph, there's a drawing, and there's an annotated picture, which is pointing to things in here. This graph here is complicated because it's got two different variables operating at the same time, so that's good. So these are the sort of things here that will show you, that will help you to get a merit by having these more complex types of graphs here. Include all your information. Here we go. So looking at the write-up. For this one here that's getting a merit, you can see here what they've talked about is in their analysis, they're using more geographic wording. So igneous, volcanic rock, longshore drift. They've got their measurements in here, halting processes. So you must use your geographic terminology and you must use your measurements if you think you're going to get your merit. For this one, they've talked about their research and they've got their findings here about direction. They're using their geographic wording, and here they get into here about their evaluation, which is their strengths and weaknesses. I'm going to talk more about that in our next section. Here's an excellence exemplar. Here's the first one. They've done the tourism has benefits in Rotorua. So this is similar to ours. They've done a research. They've done a questionnaire. So they're talking about the percentage of respondents of their questionnaire. They're talking about they've graphed it. They're talking about different questions. The analysis does not differentiate between positive and negative effects. So you can see the wording in here is very good. Individual respondents. And this here helps them to use more of their geographic wording. So the more geographic wording you use, the more you show it's about data, that is very important. Now let's have a look at here. They've got an excellence for their evaluation. They've talked about the strengths and weaknesses. So here's one variable which was not considered was the Rotorua and an off-peak time. So you've got to think about the time, the place, and they've got an alternative method here. So this alternate method is a way of studying. And in this alternate method, they've even said how they could graph that. Could be presented on a chloropleith map, and this starts to talk then about how that different type of data collection could help them. So once you've said a different way you can do it, you should say how you present it and then what sort of information that will get you. That is how you have to get an excellence. You're going to have to analyze well and you're going to have to evaluate well. Those are the key factors in getting the marks. If you're looking at how to get the grades for this, this is how it happens. The aim, the research, the collecting information, these things here are all achieved. The big grades are going to come from presenting your information, takes you up to a merit, that's the graphs and the maps, the analysis and the evaluating the process. This one here, these two sections here, will give you your achieved and your merit and your excellence. The geographic concepts can be put in anywhere throughout the project. So if you include them in your analysis, you will not have to have them in a separate section. All I can suggest there is you share the doc with me so I can check you've done it. Thanks very much. Have a great time doing this project. Goodbye.